Good evening, everyone, or good morning, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this week's SOR Round 2 here in F1 2020 in Bahrain, a track that is reputed for having major tire wear and also for split strategies. Now, split strategies are, I believe, will pop in on screen once the race starts, but I also am a racer myself, so I can tell you exactly where people will want to box. So it's either going to be a one-stop, which we'll see a lot of racers do, softs to mediums, or a two-stop of softs to mediums to softs, or softs to mediums, depending on whatever they'll do. But they'll most likely do softs, mediums, box at around lap 11, and get those mediums towards the end, which is definitely doable. It's not impossible. But someone who is not here, actually, who is the leader of the current championship, and it's Chris, but he's not here today. He had other things to do in real life, so that means Yasin is in a good chance of reclaiming his lead in the championship. He finished second, and behind him his old championship rival Ruthful in third, so it's going to make for an exciting race, to say the least. See where everyone stops, where everyone, continues, how everyone races, because, setups here are crucial. You get not enough downforce, you'll be sliding all over the place here. You get too much downforce, you'll be too slow in the straights, and there are 3 DRS zones, I should add. There's one on the start-finish straight, one just after turn 2, and then one after the tight S sections in sector 2. So hopefully by next week we'll have a cool official track guide here, so like that it fills in a bit for these moments, but that's definitely, we'll get sorted. So right, we'll go on board with a lap of Yes, and we'll stay on board with him. So DRS is activated through the start finish straight. A little bit of traffic on the right, but shouldn't be an issue. Brake just after the curb starts. He uses a lot of curb there, locks up both fronts. It's definitely going to cost him a lot of time. Quick shift up into fourth here, third even, and then a second DRS straight here. Brake just after the 100 meter board, down into third gear to get that extra bite in the corner, and then quickly up into fourth. Use as much curb on the left as possible here as well. Down to fifth for the first right-hander, then sixth to stop wheel spin from occurring here. Nice and tight in third gear. Quickly want to gear up to fourth, and then down here really tricky just as you're about to turn, and that's when you gear down in a straight line and then angle the car inwards into second gear. Third DRS straight of the track, going up the gears now into 8th gear, and in between the 150 meter board, that's your braking point. Use as much curve there on the inside as possible. Run out wide and stay towards the middle of the track. Don't use the curve there on the right, it will slip your car to a complete spin. But Calix with a 125.5, that is definitely the times you want to be saying. You want to be saying early 125s, especially here. I'd say Yasin might be able to get that. And then once the curve starts there, that's your braking in point. Down into third, quickly up into fourth, and then down the start finish straight here. DRS activate. Will he be able to reclaim pole? No, it's only enough for P2, and P1 is 5/10 clear of anyone else so far. So that's a mega banker lap there from Calix with a 125.5. That's definitely no joke. I'm wondering if the game sounds are too low. I'm not sure. See, because try putting it. It should be good now. We're on board with Pixels on his in lap, so we'll move back down. Oh yeah. So this racer here, who last week I called him Shock, definitely learned his name this time. It's Choik, so no more Shock. So Choik, yes, Choik. I think it's Choik. It's Choik, I think. Yeah, Choik, something like that. But Maple has a quali ban, and I believe someone else also has a quali ban. I don't remember who. So that's why they've retired, or at least one of them has retired. But Choik is opting to start on the mediums and go mediums hards. That is the slowest strategy here on track. He is 3/10 quicker, but it's not enough to promote him anywhere. So I reckon he might want to switch to softs eventually and try and get up the field like that. Someone was on the lap. is the Inaudible Gamer, I believe. Yeah, 105.1. That's a competitive first or second sector. He's on the softs, so he'll definitely be the likes to challenge up there. He has a nice 70th anniversary helmet there as he goes through the penultimate corner. Now it's P6 with a 126.4, and no one's able to challenge Calix just yet. But then again, Ruthful didn't come out. He is coming out now, I believe. That is the AlphaTauri coming out of the pits now. Joining us on the left, yeah, that was him. So we'll move down the order now. Let's see, ooh, 15 seconds there, Savvy. Definitely improves his lap time. It was a 1 minute 40 something, and now it's a 1 minute 26. Someone who's on a lap. Is Encore? Yeah, Encore just started his lap. So he has a bit of traffic in front, but that Haas won't get out of his way. He will now. So that might, no, that wouldn't be a performance impact there. But really in the first sector you want to be doing a late 126, early 127 if anything. He's just edging out of the 128, so I don't expect this to be a pole position, but definitely a top 10. Going down the gears here, he doesn't lock up. I believe split one you're allowed assist. I don't remember exactly. I don't remember exactly which ones, etc. I'll need to look into that. I know Maple sent me some information about that, but I'm just a commentator here. I need to, remember assists, etc. But Encore, now that I actually look at him, his helmet design is quite similar to mine, so I'll definitely be putting a copyright claim on that. I think, no, we don't. I don't know, but it's definitely somewhat similar. Anyways, so he comes across the final corner now. It's set to be a good time. It's only enough for P11 though, so you will have a free tire choice if he continues like that. If you have a free tire choice, mediums to softs is an actually pretty good strategy. I've tried it, and it actually made me gain almost 10 positions because people stuck in traffic boxing earlier, and wearing out their tires, and you're pretty much on equal territory once you box lap 18, lap 19, and then run until the end on soft. So it is doable. Like I definitely didn't have a hard time doing it, but of course the final few laps were a bit chaotic, considering that I was like 60 tire wear on all my tires. But now Ruthful, the previous championship winner here, didn't have a good start to his championship campaign last week. But then again, P3 is, it's a podium. It's good enough. So, but I'd say Ruthful, it's really in between Ruthful and Yasin now, since Chris isn't here. So Ruthful will definitely want to get the edge on his rivals so far. 104.2, that's a pretty good Sector 2 time. I don't know what Sector Calix did in his second sector, but he's still 5 times clear P1 of P2, so that banker lap definitely is enough for now to be quite good. Ruthful coming across the line now. It seems to be a really good time. He's saying 123 going across the line. It's enough for pole position by 1/10 of a second. And Panagoid puts himself into P3 with a 125.8. So now it seems to be somewhat equal, but it's still quite a hefty gap from the top 2 to P3. Calix is on our lap now, so he'll be wanting to improve, but there's a lot of traffic, not a lot of traffic, there's a lot of people on the track so far, as we have a runner, I believe that's Ruben, who has spun? Has he lost his front wing? I think he went a little too eager on the throw there and lost the back end. Oh yeah, he's lost both M plates. So that is definitely red wing damage if I've ever seen red wing damage, or at least orange on both sides. As Hazy puts himself into P4 with 128.99. It's very close to Yasin's time, who is on the lap, who's 2/10 up on his time. So it's a provisional P3 now, even P2 if he continues. But Ruthful seems to be going on a lightning race here. 4/10 up, almost on his time. Drivers have been instructed there to keep it within track limits. So I know a lot of drivers, when I'm not looking at them, might be doing that, but that's something we need to look out for. But Yasin is on a mega lap now. Comes across the penultimate corner now. Has enough DRS. DRS activated. Will it be enough for a provisional pole? No, it's only P3. So he definitely lost a lot of time there on that turn 13 there, which is unfortunate because he was setting a P2 time, but he'll come into the pits and chuck in a fresh set, I'd say. Pixel, who did his lap, is now P4. Oh no, he was already P4, my bad. But Calix is only 8/100ths of a second up on his time. There's a bit of traffic in front of Hazy. I believe Hazy is on a lap. They're both on laps. So Calix really gonna be held up here. Actually no, Hazy isn't on a lap. I mean, he's going way too slow to be on a lap, and he gets out the way. No, he wasn't on a lap, so that's something that cost him. But is it enough to steal pole? It is, not by much, but definitely enough to put him in provisional pole now. So that's definitely something the stewards will have a look into there, because what he did was, you know, he literally got in front of him, and he lost the back end as well, which shows that Dirty Air is a bit of a bad boy in F1 2020 at least. So now we'll go down the grid, see if anyone's on lap. A lot of people are in the pits. Why are the lights changing? On the top left. Anyways. Ooh, who's that? Is that Savy? Yeah, Savy just crossed the line. Or no, he didn't just cross the line. Someone improved. Oh, it was Ruth? No, someone improved. I think it was Hazy. No. I don't know, but someone definitely moved the settings there. I'm pretty sure it was Savy. Yeah, it was Savy. He puts himself into P7. But the gap from the last place to first place is 2 seconds. So somewhat of a realistic touch on that. Like in real life, how Williams are usually 2-3 seconds behind a pole position. So I guess in that factor it's somewhat realistic, but these are all equal cars, so it's definitely something demotivating to say the least. But yeah, Choik, who was on the mediums, is now on the softs. And I said a 126.4 so far. But yeah, that's pretty much everyone who is on a lap. Ooh, the Honorable Gamer improves and goes P8. Improves by 0.2. So it's only enough for P8 at the moment. And Valde's that lap, so he's definitely not going out again. But a lot of people are starting to on their outlaps. I'd say a lot. There's 5 people on their outlaps so far. No one is on a hot lap. Everyone's either in the pits or doing an outlap or doing a cooldown lap, as the just the Inaudible Gamer is. But that's a McLaren coming out. That's huge. That's a Hudbot. I think it's huge because it's European. We'll have to find out. Actually, well, Doomaster. And I know last time I said Doughmaster. It's Doomaster because, you know, it was so it was Doomaster and it was Choik. Last time I was completely bottling names. And speaking of bottle, he bottles turn 4. So, or turn 3. This is turn 4. He's gonna reset and go again. Or if he's looking going back into the pits. Okay, ooh, Rowe has explored a bit of track limits there and has invalidated his lap. GC Fungus, however, is on lap. He seems to be pretty good through there. He says to be a good lap. He's a 10th up on his time. That's enough to put him into provisional P7 so far. And would you look at that? P7 to P11 separated by a 10th. So this definitely shows that a lot of people are close to the midfield. Unfortunately, it's not like that for the whole grid, as Rowe is completely going all over the shop here. And he's getting a bit of description, but Rowe is on an invalidated lap, so he better get out the way as soon as possible. But I don't think Rowe is caught on. He still hasn't caught on, and now this is going to be okay. Good thing he gets out of the way before a right-hander, because Dirty Air would have been absolutely terrible through the right-hander, the new black Mercedes there. Been here for a while, but might as well point that out. I think it's the first time in this. No, it was out last week. I'm completely behind schedule, but don't mind me. Going through the final corner now, I definitely say there's 2 incidents there that need to be checked out by the stewards, but it seems to be a really good lap as he comes across the line and puts him into P7. Improves by 0.3. And P7 is definitely good considering how close the front is. So now this is a battle for pole position. Everyone is out now to complete their laps. Let's see, no, he's not on a lap. Polar has I really need to talk to him about that. I don't know if it's Polar Haze or Polar Has. I'm pretty sure it's Has. I don't know. I need to see. Hudebot only 2/100ths of a second up on his time. That won't be enough to improve him to anywhere. So it looks like P14 for now. But coming across the second split, it's a 10th up. Okay, there's definitely making some progress there. So it'll be enough to improve to P13 as things stand. But yeah, we'll find out sooner or later what happens. I think Hazy is the leader of this pole position battle. Oh, and Hudebot completely loses it there, and that's his qualifying over. So we'll go a bit with Hazy, see if he'll be able to snatch away pole, and then I believe it's Ruthful Pixel. Yeah, it's Ruthful Pixel. There's actually this Panic in between Ruthful and Pixel, and then there's a Ferrari of Shoik, I believe. Shoik, not sure. So it's definitely going to be a pretty close pole battle, as a lot of people are pretty close to each other, top two especially. They're all on their outlaps, and Hazy now, he's not on the lap anymore, so someone we're going to go on board with is Ruthful. Yes, Ruthful is the leader of this current pole position battle, and then it's his teammate behind. Yeah, it is his teammate behind. So, right. Is Pancoy in the middle? I mean, he invalidated his lap, so he can't. So now Ruthful is 7/10ths up on his lap, so that's his qualifying over. Ruthful is definitely going to fall down the order really quickly. And Pixel is actually down on his time as well. And who's that? Is that Fox in between, who is on an invalidated lap? Or is still on the lap, I'm not sure. But he's in the way. I don't know if it will be any dirty air, as Jonix from last place goes P2 so far. Him out of nowhere. He comes out of nowhere to snatch P2 away from Ruthful and Yasin. But who's the next person to be on a lap? I think it's is Savy, who's on a lap. So Jonix, really unexpected. He was in P19 there for a second, and then jumps into P2. Absolutely crazy scenes we're seeing here. As there's a hash driver coming across the line. I believe it's Dewmaster. I believe he's coming into the pits. Yeah. So will Savy be able to snatch away pole position from current owner Calix? And Calix is on a lap himself, so he's definitely going to want to improve on his time and try and set a late 24 maybe. But Savy across the line, he does not improve. We have a Calix who's actually going to cross the line. He does improve with a 25-0. That's definitely going to be difficult to beat, as Yasin is down on his time though. He comes across the line. Will he be able to snatch pole position away? No, he doesn't improve from P3. Polar is coming across the line now, and he boxes. So I believe that is your grid, unless if Panicoy is up on his time, but he won't be able to snatch away pole position, I don't think, unless if there's any surprises at the bottom. There's Rowe, who is on the lap. He's quite far away, so you'd think he won't be able to improve on his time at snatch pole position, as Panicoy is losing it all over the shop here. And Panicoy crosses the line, does improve, even while braking, goes P6, and Choik goes P7 with 125.9. So that is your grid, I believe. Actually, no, Rowe is crossing the line now and stays P13. Ruben's on his outlap, but he's glitched, so he's going to need to leave and rejoin, because that is a common glitch. Oh no, Ruben is on the lap. No, this is definitely not a bot controlling. So he's still on the lap, and he uses a lot of the curb there. Going through the right hand. I think it's a glitch where you have infinite goes. It's just a weird glitch, but yeah, so we'll go through grid. So that is your grid. Calix 4/10ths clear of P2 in a split one here in SOR. That is definitely something rare to see, as I believe Reben is going on another lap, but the Inaudible Gamer is in front of him though. Oh, big contact there from the Inaudible Gamer, and Lance Stroh is in this, and he invalidates it, Ruben, and you'd think he'd retire from the session. Yeah, Lance Stroh at the bottom there. He's in the, it's a weird grid, but anyways, we have Calix, who is 4/10ths clear of Ruthful in P2, Jonix in P3, Yasin P4, Pixel P5, Panicoy P6, Choik P7 Hazy, P8 GG Fungus, P9, and save it to round up the top 10. The Inaudible Gamer, P11, Fox, P12, Row, P13, Polar Hazza, P14, Alcor, P15, Hudbot, sorry, P15. I believe that was someone else. It was Dewmaster, P18, Ruben, and P18, sorry. And Maple with a quali ban will go into 19th. So 3 tenths, not 4 tenths. 3.5 tenths. But Ruthful with a validated lap managed to keep his P2, so that's something good for him. Not by much, but it's still a front row seat for him. But AlphaTauri seemed to be dominating the constructors so far with a P2 and a solid P5. Okay, maybe not dominating, but you know, if it were to end like this, AlphaTauri with some good points. But we'll have to see what plays out in the race. Maybe it might rain. Who knows? Maybe the host, aka myself, has rigged it so it rains later on the session. I would never do that. No, I didn't do that. Don't worry. But as we wait up for the formation lap, I'm going to take a sip of water. And that should do me the race. Hopefully. As everyone's readying up on the right there, waiting for players. As Reben is the first player to have readied up. We're not readied up, but check this strategy and everything. So softs, mediums definitely seems like the strategy most drivers will go with. There's also softs, hards, softs, mediums, softs, mediums. Or people 11th and under might go medium softs or mediums hards. I don't see mediums hards, but it could be medium softs. I'd say medium softs will be the best strategy in my opinion. But then again, I'm just a commentator as we're getting ready for the formation lap. So we get details, get the tires in here. As everyone 11th and under has gone onto the medium tires, which is the smart decision to do. So they're going to be one stopping for sure. Mediums hards or medium softs. I've definitely said a lot of tire compounds there within the last minute. So I'm going to stop and I'm just going to see what they do. But if they're listening in, medium softs will be my bet. Try and stay out as long as possible. If you have good tire management, box lap 18, 19, and then do softs towards the end. If people on quali lap tires can do 10 laps, you should be able to do fresh softs for an extra 10 laps as well. Or mediums hards as well. That was the strategy last year's game. But with tire pressures being a thing that you can change each tire pressure, you can go longer or shorter, or go full soft, full hard, etc. But we have an Alfa Romeo in first place. Not something you'll see often in real life. AlphaTauri behind him, not a thing you'll see in real life. A Haas locking up the podium as well. It's definitely not the podium you'd expect to see in real life, but then we have some normality there with the Essen P4 and Panagoy P6. So there's your particular pit stop strategy with the 2 softs, mediums, or softs, mediums, hards, which is a really poor strategy. Whoever picked that in Ghostmasters needs to be fired. And Shoik in P7 with a Ferrari there. Somewhat realistic. Ferrari that far back in the grid. And also Rowe. They're replacing Sebastian Vettel, I'd say, in his Ferrari in P13. And Polar has it also doing an Alexander Albon in P14. Didn't make it to Q2. Or made it to Q2, but not Q3 by the looks of things. I don't know why I'm pointing out, real life racers. I don't know, I'm just trying to kill time here in the formation lap. Formation lap isn't really the most interesting of laps in the race, but lap 1 onwards is definitely the most interesting part. So here we go, 40 minutes of racing, 29 laps here in the Bahrain Grand Prix. 19 racers. Who will win today's race, as we have 5 lights here in this Bahrain Grand Prix, and everyone's warming up, but it still says it's lights out and away we go, but it's not lights out, away we go, and it's not lights out and away we go now. Calix gets a super start off the line there, as I'd actually know Calix has a terrible start off the line. Ruthful and Jonix has managed to jump them into turn 1, and there's a McLaren going down the inside of 3-4 people in there, and there's been a spin at the back. I think that's Roe there who spun at the back, or has lost a lot of positions there. Going further back down the grid, we have some more side-by-side action here. Yasin and GC Fungus, the McLaren and Red Bull going side-by-side, heading into turn 4. GC Fungus getting the better of that. Choi trying to look all over the back of Yasin there. He hits the back of Yasin there, and that's his front wing gone, and he comes back on track. Oh, and he almost hits the back of the Williams, and the Williams needs to take evasive action there to avoid the Ferrari there, the damaged Ferrari, as the freaking predicted pit stop strategy there is in the way. But Shoik now with a damaged front wing, and Hazy is completely punted, and Williams has punted into Choik as well, who was awkwardly stopped there. That is his whole left end plate gone, I believe. Yep, that is his whole end plate gone. And that has been a pretty chaotic lap 1 so far. Rowe has made it to the back of the grid. He has no front wing damage, so I say that was just a spin that occurred. But going up the grid now, Calix with a shocking start off the line there. No offense, but it's not good in racing, especially if you want to keep your P1. But Ruthful has already made up 8 tenths as we have a move there at the back. Oh, there's side-by-side action here going in between Fox and Encore. Fox getting it moved on, I believe, or if it was a failed attempt. A lot of people are boxing there. You a lot of damage has been given with front wings in the lap 1. Oh, side-by-side action. The Inaudible Gamer on Hazy there. It's a bit of a Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, but luckily the Inaudible Gamer and Choi come out, or Hazy come out perfect, as the Inaudible Gamer Willie looked to send one down the inside. No. And his yellow flags, and that's the runner, I believe, a Ruben, who spun in the same corner he spun in qualifying, so definitely not good stuff from him. As Maple in the Mercedes from P19 up into P15 so far, so good progress from the, I keep saying McLaren and Mercedes, from the Mercedes driver in these early stages of the race. Moving up the field though, we have another yellow flag, and that's the Williams of Savy who spun, and he's lost no front wings, so he's just had an awkward spin as there's a side-by-side action here. Oh, terrible camera with Dewmaster and Maple. Maple up into P14 now. So in the space of 2 corners that we've assumed he's up a position. So really good stuff from Maple here. He's definitely looking to go into the points and get that driver of the day. Not that it matters, but it's nice to see your character posing there towards the end of the race. But DRS will be enabled this lap. Oh, as Calix is all over the back, any set of purple lap. He's going quicker than Ruthful there, as these two will go side by side heading into turn 1. Who will brake late? They both brake pretty similarly. Ruthful giving him the big squeeze heading into turn 2, but gets the inside line and gets the move done into turn 3. So good stuff from Calix there. Great overtake. Also has the DRS, and that won't allow Ruthful to overtake him for now. But going further back down the grid, will we see some action going on? No, not so much. So move up the grid as, oh, gets a bad run there, as Fox says, as Hudebot is going to stick down the outside of the right-hander there. Nice space, give it a between, and Hudebot hits the back and has been spun round, and I believe he's also been given a love tap at the back there by the Red Bull, who's lost a bit of his front wing there. And that's some side-by-side action you don't want to be doing too often, but definitely works out if you get it right, as Maple goes down the inside of Polar Hazard, and oh, no space given there by the Ferrari of Rowe, as Polar Hazard tries to re-enter and loses a position to Dewmaster as well. So Maple sent one down the inside. Polar Hazard locked up, went wide, and that has cost him 3 positions. And I think he does have his front wing damage from booting the back of Hudebot. So yes, it definitely does add to the fact that Hudebot was tapped in the rear. He avoided the instant Hudebot, but then Polar Hazard couldn't react in time and booted him into a turn, whatever it was. But Ruthful now, will he go down the inside of Calix heading into turn 1? No, but Calix, oh, and that's Jonix, who really outbraked himself and almost hit the back. But Ruthful now with DRS has plenty of ERS, so does Calix as well, but none of them use their ERS. Or it must be a visual glitch, I don't know. But Ruthful looking to go around the outside there. Ooh, a little bit of contact there. A bit of tire rubbing as Jonix almost does a Sebastian Vettel there into turn 3. So not something you want to be doing too often. And there, as Pixel has spun going further back down the grid, has spun into the S section and rejoins on track in front of Ro. Luckily, no one has died there. That's not something you want to see. But Pixel now has lost a ton of positions and his rears are absolutely cooked. So he's definitely going to maybe go on to the 2-stop towards the end. But Ruthful and Calix here, the fight for the lead is definitely on. Very close to each other, no space or plenty of space given in between each other, plenty of respect as well given in between each other. So I definitely don't see this battle ending any time soon, as it seems to be a 3-way battle because Jonix here is the third man in the DRS train, and as we all know, last year's game, that's not a position you want to be in. But thanks to ERS saving being a thing, a lot of people, you know, being the third man isn't necessarily the bad thing. But Ruthful now into overtake mode. I don't know if he's in overtake mode, it doesn't show, but I don't think he is. They're both saving as it goes down the inside into turn 1. Plenty of space given, they're still side by side here. Calix will have the inside line going into turn 2 and gets to move back up into P1. But Jonix now closer than he's ever been, but more up action at the front. Oh, Calix under braking moves to the racing line, and Ruthful gives him 2 love taps there. I presume that'll leave shark bites of damage on his front wing there. Yeah, I'm looking. He does have a little bit of a shark bite on his left end plate, but not enough to suggest a performance impact, as no one has gotten a time penalty yet, at least from what I've seen. So keeping it clean, guys. That's what you like to see. Definitely something we didn't see last season. Wink, wink. I believe that was WoW in USA there, getting 30-second time penalty, I think, toward the end. But now we have Hazy on the back of GC Fungus. It was really close. The 2 Merc engine boys going at it in Sector 2. Nothing into the end of Sector 2. But Maple into P13. He's only 2 positions away from the points. Actually, 3 positions away, my bad. As I've been speaking so much, my throat is now drier than the Saharan desert. I'm pretty sure I've bottled the name. But Ruthful locks up in both fronts. That is not something you see often with wheel users, unless if he completely smashed his brakes. But his pit window is open, so he might be on 2-stop, but I don't think he can change it to 1-stop in the game. So will he go for a dive bomb down the inside? No. But Jonix, if you look in the mirrors on the bottom left there, is really good under braking into turn 1. He definitely likes to brake late, so he definitely has a lot of brake bias, front brake bias, so he can brake later, which allows him to do that. But currently nothing more, as there's a lot of cars bunched up with each other there. There's a 3-way battle for P11 as Ro gets a mega run on Pixel in the AlphaTauri, who spun last lap, I remind you. But Pixel hangs it around the inside. Ro gives plenty of space here, as Maple is in perfect view of this and is only waiting until one of them spins. And Pixel, where he spun last time, will he spin again? No, but he almost does. And Pixel runs out wide there. That's definitely going to give him a warning, at least, as Maple locks the front right. And I can't stay on Maple too long because he has the engine glitch that has yet to be fixed from last year's game. But Pixel is all over the back of Ro, and ooh, they all lock up, and it's a 4-way battle for P11. And Fox is going to see this opportunity to try and run away with it. But Pixel, will he try and go around the inside of Ro into the... Ooh, and there's a bit of contact there. Ro didn't really leave as much space as Pixel would have liked to. But he's still on the back of him. Luckily, Pixel's tires have cooled down a bit. But this is the point where I'd say the mediums will be the quickest tire on track. More of that later, but now towards the front, we have Ruthful and Calix again into turn 1. Ruthful again doing a repeat, going down the inside, but Calix manages to hang around the outside and will get the inside line for the next corner. And Ruthful now really close to him, but doesn't neither get DRS, so they must have been really side by side that the game couldn't pick wet DRS. But Calix once again moving under braking. That's not something that is good. But Ro and Pixel there from earlier are still battling out. Oh, and Pixel completely cuts the goal. Oh, and Ro cuts across him there. That's definitely going to be some front-wing damage. But now that has allowed Maple to go down the inside of both of them, and Maple makes it 3 wide heading into Sector 2, and they both lock up, and Maple is now a sitting duck to to Pixel, who is sliding in behind Maple. So Maple making it 3 wide and slots in the middle of both of them. And now Maple is up into P12. So good stuff for Maple. Definitely taking advantage of all the mistakes the players in front are doing. But battle for the lead here. Ruthful and Calyx still going at it. Who will box when? Who will go for the undercut? Who will go for the overcut? Find out next week. No, okay. I really need to stop making that joke. But penalty situation-wise, I don't think anyone has a penalty. A lot of people have warnings, but no one has a penalty. Oh, Penquay actually has a 3-second time penalty. I believe we saw it on the bottom left, but everyone's keeping their nose clean so far. A lot of people on the hards as well, making a bit of inroads on the medium runners and soft runners. Pixel really a sitting duck there is softs in P13. But once again, will we have a repeat left time, or Ruthful, will he be able to get the move into Calyx? Pixel gets a 3-second time penalty. Calyx breaking later there, so they won't go side by side heading into here. So now Ruthful doesn't get the best of exit and won't put it into overtake. He will just use DRS to try and catch up. But Calyx is now finally can breathe through the first sector. Polar has left the session. I presume connectivity issues. Going further back down as Fox simply drifts through there. Oh, Maple and Fox going side by side, going into the end of Sector 1. A little bit of contact there. It's not Fox, it's Rose, sorry. As they're going side by side here, ending into the S section. Rose goes in deep, and that will compromise his speed going through here as Maple locks up quite heavily there, forced to cut the corner. That would definitely be a warning there for the Mercedes drivers. We have a yellows, and that's not Ruben, that's Encore, who spun again at that corner, and he's lost his whole front wing. That's a virtual safety car, so that is good stuff for Elite. Will they come in to box this lap, to put on a set of hards, or risk it and go on the mediums? If they go on mediums, they'll need to do 20 laps, and the mediums can do 19 laps. So unless if they're brave and they go for the mediums this lap, or I'd say the smart decision will be to try and go for the hards if they do decide to box this lap. But by the looks of things, no, Calyx is going into the pits. Calyx is going into the pits, and Ruthful is following him. And so, yes, and it's completely smashed into the back of Jonas, going into the pits and gets a 5-second time penalty for severe collision. And he's going to need to change the front wing, and that's going to leave him nowhere. Reben gets a drive-through penalty for speeding onto the VSC, so he's going to want to box this up. And who's that? That's I've completely lost track of the order here. As Calyx gets in front of Ruthful, and they don't get held up. As his yellow flag there, that's Polar Hazard, who spun in the second sector. Gets the car going again. So and a bit of track extending there from Pixel. Wink, wink. A lot of people boxing, a lot of people coming out of the pits. As yeah, they went on the hards. Either they're listening to the stream now and seeing what I'm saying, or they just use their big brains as well to go on the hards. But the hards were definitely the best strategy to go on to. I don't see the mediums making it till the end. So now it's just a straight fight for these two until the end. Excuse me. And there's a big boy lock up there from Fox Spring. A lot of rubber there, so that's going to mean locking up will be a oh my god, everyone I'm looking at now is locking up there. There's a lot of rubber there. That'll mean locking up will be a bit easier. Or no, it will actually be a lot harder to lock up there. As my throat is drying drastically quickly, there's a lot of action to go through here. I'm enjoying this though, don't get me wrong. As Polar Hazard goes into the pits. And yes, and holy crap, was in P4. Comes out provisional. He's actually on the mediums. He went for the mediums. So did Hazy, actually, who went into the pits. So now Yasin came into provisional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th position. He lost 4 positions, smacking into the back of I believe it was a driver from, I think it was a McLaren driver of Penquay. But I don't see his mediums make it to the end. Well, he'll be able to make the mediums last until the end, sure. But he will be on a big pace difference, as I forgot to look at the front. Ruthful gets the move done on Calyx, but Calyx round the outside as he's almost completely sideswept Ruthful there. He saw that was going to happen, so he slammed on the brakes. And Ruthful now almost at the DRS, as he has a bit of traffic here, but Dewmaster has the right to fight this position off. As I'm pretty sure the Inaudible Gamer now might go for the softs, you know, towards the end. There's yellow flags, and that's Jonix, who was in a really good position for this whole race. has spun and done a Sebastian Vettel. We've seen him do a Sebastian Vettel almost last time, and he's done it again. Ooh, cutting the corner will definitely be a 5-second time penalty. I think he's raged, or maybe not raged, as he continues onwards, and that's safety car. That is Jonix, no. Jonix, no. No, 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 no. Oh my god. That is definitely going to be penalty points for you, Jonix. That is very much unnecessary, and that is very much an unsportsmanlike move that you've just pulled off, because now the mediums runners will opt to go for the hards now, I'd say. And then now that's definitely going to ruin both the provisional leaders here of Calix and Ruthful, who Calix has managed to make in front of Ruthful during this whole time. So that is very unsportsmanlike from Jonix there. Definitely will be reported. I definitely know I will, because that's kind of triggered me for some reason. But Jonix, if you're watching, that's not what you want to be doing. So yeah, the Inaba Gamer will be boxing for the hards, I'd say. Ooh, and actually Ruthful is going back into the pits for a set of mediums, I'd say, because, I mean, this is where you want to box to get the mediums to last towards the end. Well, yeah, he is going on the mediums, so he's now on a better strategy than Calix is, and Calix might be vulnerable to Ruthful, or, yeah, during this restart, but now he's going to get held up. He gets held up quite a bit there, and comes out in provisional P11, or he does come out in P11, while Calix is in P2. So, he's going to need to do a lot of overtaking Ruthful in order to get back in front. But if he has the pace, he should be able to do it, as he's going side by side with his teammate here, and loses another position to Pixel. So now he's in P12. He's 10 positions behind Calix, meaning that he's going to need to get a move on, Ruthful. And Rowe has gone on soft compound tires, so Rowe will definitely make some anger outs, might be able to snatch a fastest lap. But looking up towards the front, Fox still on his medium, so he's going to probably box late for soft, I'd say. But now we have a safety car. It's definitely going to leave a lot of you know, potential overtaking, potential strategy changes, as we've seen Jonix, or not Jonix, sorry, Ruthful box for mediums. He's definitely going to be able to make those mediums last, because the safety car will go in next lap, entering lap 13, as Ruthful gets left by his teammate Pixel. So team orders maybe? Don't know. I don't know if it's even legal to do that in real life, or let your teammate by the safety car conditions. But yeah. Safety car, I'd say, will be in next lap. So entering lap 13, we'll be racing. So the medium runners will only need to last those mediums for 16 laps, yeah, rather than the previous 19. So it's doable now, and you know, since they're not going to use as much tires now, they're going like half the pace they would usually be going. I'd say it's not, you know, the medium runners are going to be in a good position. Those are box for the fresh hards as well, though. They won't, you know, lose a lot of time. They're all one-stopping. Ruthful now in a lot of traffic to catch up Calix, because Calix is in a net P1, because Fox is going to need a box soon, and I'm sure during the safety car restart will be overtaken quite a bit, as we have a Red Bull driver there. He's overtaking a bit everyone. Who's that? Is that Yasin? It was Yasin. Where's the Polar? It's Polar Has. Oh, Polar Has is trying to unlap himself. Is he not getting disqualified though? Or is he just during the safety car he came out in P2? Okay, that makes more sense. Ooh, a bit of action there going on during the safety car. But Calix is actually, he's in between a lapped car, where he needs to be, is blocked by a lapped car of Polar Haza on fresh mediums. So unfortunately, Polar Haza won't be able to unlap himself, meaning that well, he's going to be in even a worse position. And points doesn't look likely. But safety car will be in this lap, I'd say. Or if, because the two Renaults are far back, safety car won't be in. But I'd say the game will detect them as being relatively close to the field and will box. Coming across the third sector now. Will it be safety car in this lap? Not from what I can see. They've caught up the two Renaults, and I think safety car's in this lap, so it's a late call for a safety car to come in this lap. I think it's as they caught up. Safety car was called in, but Fox giving no space, no backing up, no nothing. He's gonna want to go as soon as possible. As he's gonna get blue flag. Polar has a. Oh, Fox gets the call done, and I believe perhaps because they overtook him with safety car, they might get penalties. No. Panikoi with a really good run there, really good restart as Polar has retired from the session in the pits. As Calix goes down the inside of his teammate there, no team orders, he completely shuns his teammate off wide. Fox tries to hang around the inside. Who's that? That's Hazy going around the outside there, completely off track. So that's Hazy who's trying to get some inroads as well on the podium. There's a big scramble going on in between 4 cars, and Fox, 0 team orders going on now. Even though he's on an older strategy, Hazy loses the back in there and will ultimately lose the position. Oh, and that's some attacks from Ferrari. Gets overtaken by Hudbot and Ruthful as well. And we have a McLaren that's Panikoi, who spun at the back there, so we won't go back. It's just him coming back on track. But Ruthful, holy, from P11, he's already up into P7, and you could see the leader in front of him. So Ruthful making some inroads on those medium tires. He will have the better traction, but not for long, as Fox gets overtaken by the Innova Gamer to lose the podium position. And Mako in P11, crucially, starting from the back of the grid with the quali ban, might get game driver of the day. Who knows? As GC Focus now is all over the back of Fox, who I believe Fox won't go flat. Through here as Dewmaster gets, the side-by-side action heading up into the uphill right-hander, and Dewmaster in the will get the inside line. There's Rowe, who's not upside down, but is facing the wrong way there, going in the right-hander. I'm sure that put off a lot of drivers. And we have more action there. That's a Ferrari of Choi and Savy going down the inside. There's more side-by-side action there. Pixel getting moved on Maple, and Maple actually into P10, so he's in the points after safety car restart, as Yasin now all over the back of both Maple and Pixel. Maple looking to go around the outside of Pixel. Pixel defends the inside line, and Yasin tries to go. He gets a little bit of contact there from Choik, and now Choik is under pressure from Savy, who's on fresh softs. Actually, they're both on fresh softs, so they're both on even pace, as they both have ERS deployed. They both do have ERS deployed. Who's going to give each other space? It looks like Choik is going to go try and round the outside here, heading into the second sector. They're still going to go side by side to the right, as we've seen Pixel, who's got a little bit of contact there from both the drivers, and Savy gets the move done. So really good stuff there. A bit of contact was made, little hand was raised there, but is no spins, luckily. Ruthful into P6 now, overtook Hudebot somewhere last lap, or this lap. So now he just has his championship, not championship, race rival, whatever you want to call it, just 5 positions in front of him, and he's not too far away. GC Fungus losing it completely there, but unfortunately at the bottom left, no one's getting to that's a Has driver who's completely gone off. That's Dewmaster. My apologies, he's completely gone off, but Ruthful was going side by side with, he still is with GC Fungus, and Ruthful tries to hang around the inside, gives him the big old squeeze on the exit. GC Fungus riding the curbs, being that he won't be able to do much of that. I'm just going to check penalty situations real quick. Calix has 0 warnings. Hazy has 1 warning. The Innova Gamer has, it's definitely not a glitch. To be fair, it's really difficult to get penalties in this track, except for if you majorly cut here and extend the next corner. Other than that, it's really difficult to get a time penalty, in my opinion. But this is a really interesting race. I'm really enjoying myself here. There's still 10 laps to go, or a little under 10 laps to go. As Ruthful gets a nice switch back there on the fresh mediums. Oh no, this is going to be bad. Please don't get taken out there by Fox, because he's on the opposite strategy. Ruthful, you're on fresh mediums. Wait out. There's a DRS line just up the road, and GC Fungus now really sniffing the back of Ruthful there. Not something you'd hear me say quite often, but Ruthful tries to go down the inside of Fox, puts Fox offline. I don't think Fox will have the DRS. He does not have the DRS, so now Ruthful is putting it up into overtake, and will he get the move heading up the uphill left-hander? Fox tries to round it around the outside. No space is given for Fox, and Fox is demoted down into P5, as there's a bit of action here going on with the 2 Merc boys again, Savy and Maple, but Savy is on fresh softs, so he's definitely going to be the quickest out of Maple, so Maple can really only watch him as he runs away with it. As there's more side-by-side action here, would GC Fungus try to go down the inside of Fox? No, but Fox will want to, actually no, he's probably going to box up 18 to go on a fresh set of softs towards the end, but since the whole pack is bunched up. It's definitely not going to help him, as GC Fungus with the power of fresh hearts will be quicker exiting that final corner and will ultimately get the move done. As Ruthful now is just one place shy. There's side-by-side action of Maple and the Ferrari of Choi going side-by-side here, heading into, a little bit of side contact there as Choi gets the move done into P11. So Maple really going forward and then falling back quite rapidly in this race, but showing he can consistently overtake, so it definitely shouldn't be a disappointment. But Ruthful only 4 seconds behind leader, but he is on the mediums, and in order for those mediums to be quick, that, you know, they're worthy of overtaking these hards, closing period will be, I'd say, around lap 21. That's when the mediums, or the hards, will start to be the quickest tire. But Hazy, who's on roughly 2 lap older tires than Ruthful, is making quite quick progress here on the back of Calix. More side-by-side action here in between Choik and Savy. Actually, as Savy loses the position to Choik, and is demoted down into P11. Oh, Fox has gone wide there. That's going to allow Hudebot to get a good run on him heading into the final corner of this race. There's plenty of space given. They're pretty much not close to each other, but Hudebot decides to let Fox go, but Fox is completely using all the track there because his mediums will just be pleading for mercy as he boxes this lap for a fresh set of softs, you'd think. But there's 3 wide here going into turn 1 with Yasin, Pixel, and Choi. Yasin with the inside line. There's 3 lines, and Hudebot down right on the inside. This is definitely not going to end well for either of them, as there's almost still 3 wide, and Pixel is back in is the back of this trio now, as Choi has actually lost the Pixel. Oh my god, this Pixel has completely sent one down the inside of Hudebot almost, and I don't know what that speed was, but it's out at the moment. So Yasin there overtaking 2 cars there in 1 sector. Really good stuff from him. Yasin is with that 5-second time penalty though will hinder his chances later on in the session, but he's up into a provisional P8 so far. Because I believe with, if you had, actually no, everyone's pretty close to each other. We'll figure out towards the end of the race. But so far, Ruthful actually got a move done on the Inaudible Gamer. I didn't notice that, my apologies. But he's 2.5 seconds behind Hazy and Calix, who I presume will start to squabble soon. And Ruthful will catch up eventually. Now, will they manage to catch up? I'm not sure. But definitely showing that he has pace. Both of them has pace, and might be able to run away from Ruthful, but Ruthful has actually made up a 10 through that final sector, meaning that he definitely does have the pace. Will he be able to catch up? I don't know. Go further back down the grid here. Ooh, who's that? That's Savy going into the pits, and that's going to promote Savy Encore into the pits. That's actually just going to promote Encore to the pits because Maple was in the points as well. So Encore now with his 1 point, but he's being closely followed by his teammate. So 2 Renault drivers are really close to each other and will perhaps battle eventually. But Encore gets the better run and is running away now from his teammate in P10. Moving up the grid, we don't see. We see top 2 now. Almost loses the back in there, Hazy. But Ruthful managed to close up by almost he has caught up by half a second through this last lap, so it definitely shows that Ruthful has the pace and will be on the back of these 2, I'd say, within the next lap or 2. We'll go further back down the grid there. I think this is the moment where everyone is doing their own race. Yeah, everyone's not too close to each other, so the momentum of all the craziness has died out, but we still have 17 runners, so it is good stuff. But Hazy now going to put it up into overtake and really has no. Oh my god, Calix has 60 or 70% ERS, and Hazy just barely has 10. But he has DRS. Calix has plenty of overtake in the world if he needs to. But with the power of DRS, he will be able to close in eventually. Not enough to overtake him into turn 1 though, however. But slowly eking up is Ruthful. And Hazy actually gets a bit of a squeezes him a bit as Yasin goes down the inside of GC Fungus, and finally we have some action here as GC Fungus tries to get a switchback here and won't get the DRS, and neither of them get the DRS actually, as Yasin is weaving all over the shop to try and prevent GC Fungus from getting the DRS. With just over 10 laps to go in this Bahrain Grand Prix, it looks like Ruthful might, well, he will catch up. He's 1.5 seconds now. So in 2 laps, he's caught up to second. So in 2 laps, he should be on the back of these guys, unless if the top 2 squabble, which is a big possibility, as the Polar has it, goes quickest with a 129.8, I think it was. Let's quickly find out. Excuse me. Oh, here. So it's easier to read now. The fast lap with a 129.599. So almost a, yeah. We'll check out the tires. Here we go. So moving further back down the grid. Dudebot's actually close to these guys, but I won't say he's close enough to get in the DRS. He's definitely not close enough to get in the DRS. But GC Fungus now has DRS, and I might be able to catch it, as Ruthful's now almost within a second of the top 2. And GC Fungus is definitely going to run away. Or not going to run away. Yes, he's going to run away. But who's that going into the pits there? That's a Renault. That's Encore going into the pits for fresh set of softs, I'd imagine. So he's going to drop outside the points. He's going to drop just behind Savy, I'd say. Which is not ideal, especially if he wants to get points. He could have easily made those mediums last until the end. Not sure what his thought process there was, but we'll see if it works out and he can try and make his way up into the field. Encore, he didn't change his time. Oh, he probably had to drive the... Oh, I remember. No, he did. Or, no, it wasn't. I don't remember. Someone had to drive through penalty, and I believe it was him. I don't remember exactly. Baruthful now, within 5/10 of P2, and has 2 lap pressure tires in the person in front of him and the leader. So Ruthful seems to be in a really good position to win this race. There's 9 laps left. He's been on 8 laps on these tires. So, theoretically, he should be able to make it to the end, especially with 2 laps under safety car under his belt. These tires will be 2 laps fresher, I'd say. So he only has like 6 lap old mediums compared to 2 in front who were on their mediums before. So they're on 8 laps, I'd say 2 people in front, and Ruthful's only on 6, so he still has plenty of life in these tires. But he's starting to crank up the ERS, and Hazy goes defensive heading into turn 1, gives him the big old squeeze, but Ruthful's going to try and hang around the outside as Hazy, oh my goodness, tries to outbrake Ruthful. In the process, completely bashes into the side pod of Ruthful, so Hazy won't be able to do much of that as he opens his DRS quite late there, but I don't think he needed DRS anyways to stay in front of Ruthful. So Ruthful definitely knows by that it's going to be challenging in front of Hazy, because Hazy has the pace to keep up with Calyx, and Ruthful has the pace to, I'd say, extend his gap with these guys up in front. So it's pretty even, I'd say, so far. They all have pretty similar pace. Of course, Calyx is leading the pack, so we can't really say his pace, but Hazy can't really make a move on these guys, but definitely looks like Ruthful is quicker than 2 in front of him, and will look to overtake him as we see a little bit of action there. Looking on the minimap there, that's Encore on his mediums, getting the move done on Choik, and that's him up into P14. He has 7 seconds to make it to P13, and an extra, I doubt points will be possible, because points, his teammate is just entering Sector 3, and he's just at the start of Sector 2, so Encore's chance of points won't be possible, I'd say, after that. Pretty useless pit stop in my opinion, but we'll see what he says in chat later. But Hazy now cranking up the ERS as well, trying to get in front of Calyx, because he knows he'll be under pressure of Ruthful if he does not get a move on now. But Calyx under pressure breaks a bit later, and still nothing in between these two. Just 8 laps to go left in this Bahrain Grand Prix. Unfortunately, nothing more. As we see, well, I could definitely tell Ruthful is quicker than top 2, because, well, heck, he made 2.4 seconds in 3 laps. So if he just gets in front, because right now his mediums are going to be pleading for mercy, because he's following really closely behind, and he's forced to brake harder, brake in a different way that he's used to, considering he's following 2 people in front, as Choik and Encore going at it side by side, and also Fox going side by side. They're heading into turn 3, but then these two are also fighting, and Choik regains his position into P14. Ooh, and Pixel now on the back of Hudebot. I don't know if he'll be able to make anything of it. He thinks about it, but backs off of it as Hudebot goes a bit wide. That will allow Pixel to attempt to close in. He won't be able to close in as Hudebot's locking up every single corner. So maybe through his next straight he'll be able to do something. But someone I want to look at here is Ruthful because, well, Hazy has the DRS in front. But one thing he doesn't have, Hazy, is ERS. But Ruthful doesn't know that. And will he be able to do something about it? No. Calix breaks late to try and... Ooh! As Encore gets his 3 seconds time penalty. Hazy almost rear ends Calix. I know that ooh sounded a bit weird, but I reacted to two things at once there. As Pixel gets a move on Hudebot going into turn 1. Actually, no move has been done just yet. Pixel now has a DRS and will crank it up into overtake. And will he be able to manage to get... Ooh, he switches back late as he does Pixel and tries to go around the outside, but Hudebot cuts that off. And that's P7 kept for Hudebot as Choi goes faster with a 129.2 on his 4-lap old mediums. So he's showing that he still has pace. And we'll move up the field now, as these three are still battling out. I'm just going to check penalty situation now for these top three. Let's see, Calix. Calix has no warnings. Hazy has 1 warning, as we have a bit of a stutter there. And Ruthful has 1 warning as well. Is he going on wits? I saw something blue there. As we have some action there going on the back there. I believe Hazy got a bit of a lag back. I know I did. And Hazy now vulnerable, very vulnerable to Ruthful, who's only a 10th behind him and won't get the powerful slipstream that he's been getting through this final sector, or final corner, straight, whatever you want to call it. But now Ruthful doesn't put him into overtake, but he doesn't need overtake because he's catching up. Hazy goes defensive, but Ruthful tries to go down the inside and doesn't manage to make anything of it. See, Hazy likes to break late, and in doing so, breaking late, he actually manages to gain a lot of time and doesn't lose much either. But Hazy now with the poor exit, and Ruthful will regain P2 in this Bahrain Grand Prix. A little bit of argy-bargy going around, but Hazy tries to hang around the outside, and Ruthful cuts him off and gets P2. So amazing stuff from these two. But now Hazy will try and catch, or try and stay at the back of Ruthful, as we've seen Ruthful pushing Ruthful pushing Hazy all over the place. Will Hazy be able to do the same? So far it looks like Ruthful is being the quickest. So now Calix will be sweating a bit because he knows that Ruthful has pace. He's on mediums, he's on hards. And now it's just going to be a straight fight towards the end. Maybe we'll have a last lap battle. Maybe we'll have a penultimate last battle, whatever you want to call it. But Hazy already 5/10ths behind Ruthful, and crucially, Ruthful is almost out of the DRS of Calix. And if he is outside the DRS, Hazy should easily overtake him, but Calix gets a poor run there and loses roughly 2/10ths to him. So it's definitely not going to be something you want to do too often, as Ruthful is just within the DRS, and Hazy, though, doesn't get a good run and won't be able to challenge him, as Ruthful chucks it into overtake just to get that powerful punch outside, as he gains a few tenths. It won't be enough to overtake him into turn 1, as Calix breaks really early and loses 3/10ths into the braking zone. And now with DRS and a little bit of overtake, maybe? No overtake. He made up 5/10ths there, as Pixel and Hudebot are going at it once again. Hudebot, gets a terrible line, and oh no, there's a bit of contact, and there's a bit of his front wing gun of Pixel, and Pixel will be fuming after that as he locks up quite big time, and his left end plate is gone. So Hudebot losing the back end there, side swiping Pixel a bit, and now Maple will be looking to improve on his current points tally to try and get P8 from P19 in this race. So far, he's my driver today, Maple. Well, first up, he's in the points from P19, which is definitely something. And he's all over the back of Pixel now, who has front wing damage. And someone else he might be able to get is Hudebot, because he is on fresher hards and Pixel is. So we'll actually stay on with him now, because Pixel with his front wing damage won't be doing too good here, as Hazy actually has fallen out of the DRS of Ruthful, so that's his chances of overtaking done. But we'll go towards the front, because Ruthful now is within 4/10ths, Oh, Calix has a lot of overtake to use. He has very much a lot of overtake to use because, well, he's just been in P1. He doesn't see any reason to use it, as Roe, I believe, has spun heading into turn 2 again, like he did last time in quali and at earlier stages of the race. But Calix has a lot of overtake, meaning that even if Ruthful gets in front, Calix will be able to use his overtake to try and push and overtake. But currently, right now, they're not using overtake too much. I think Ruthful's only using overtake in the straights, whereas DRS to try and make some inroads on him. But Calix really doesn't see any reason to use it, as there's a bit of switch in positions there between Savvy and Fox. We won't go towards him too much because, well, this is a lot of action here, but we will scoot back to the points battling positions, as Maple is now all over the back of Pixel there. Will he go down the inside, heading into this corner? Yes, he will. He goes down the inside and gets the move done awkwardly, though, almost rear ends him. And not rear ends him, gives him a little bit of tap, as Maple politely gives the move back because he know what he did was a bit wrong. Ooh, he drifts into that corner there. Nice stuff there, Maple. Deja vu. But Pixel will fall to the clutches, I'd say, of Maple in this DRS straight. Ooh, the gamer almost loses the back end there. Everyone keeping it clean at turn 13 as the stewards were told him to. That's Roe due to spin now. Okay, he goes into the pits. He won't have ERS. And I believe Calix is trying to break the ERS as Pixel gets a 3-second time. But I'm pretty sure Pixel is one of the only people who has. But this is now the overtake of the lead now. Ruthful goes down the inside heading into turn 1. And Calix has ruined his corner completely now. Ruthful will try and hang around the outside. Calix giving him no space. So now overtake is engaged. But Calix also has overtake. And he's going to use all of his overtake. And Ruthful will try and hang around the outside, hanging into turn 3, heading into sector 2. Whoever gets in front here will be in a good position now to try and stretch away as Ruthful pushes the brakes a tiny bit to let Calix by. There's 3 laps left of this Grand Prix. It's going to be a tense battle for the win here. I'm pretty sure both of them only have 1 warning. Even I think one or the other has 0. And who's that? I believe that's Encore, or no, that's Reboon who's lost it. A lot of people we've seen lose it there. But there's going to be no VSC or no safety car because there's only 3 laps left. So very, very tense stuff here into this final close of the stage. But Calix with 60% ERS. Ruthful barely struggling to try and save up his ERS because he is using it to try and get in front. But that means Calix, if he's still in front on the last lap, won't be able to do anything. Well, will be able to use his ERS to try and stretch away. Ruthful only uses DRS to get a punchy exit end on the DRS straights, and Calix doesn't even use it at all. So we'll have to see who gets the best exit here. Looks like Calix gets a really good exit there on the final quarter now. So I'd say Ruthful will try and use all of his overtake. And Calix, I think, used a bit of his overtake to try and run away with it. But with the power of DRS, Ruthful will be getting in by a 10th, I'd say, in that straight. But I'd say they're pretty even on tire wear now because, well, the hards won't be looking too good and the mediums certainly won't be looking good either. As Calix doesn't use his overtake, but if I was Calix, I'd be using my overtake a bit now so that I can try and run away and on the last lap be scot-free of pressure. Now, it's really whoever makes a mistake will lose this race, but we're going to look a bit on the tire situation, or not tire situations. Calix has no warning. Ruthful only has the 1 warning. So he can afford a bit. As Calix has completely lost it or has bottled it. And Ruthful is now very much within touching distance of Calix. So doesn't get the best effects there. He uses his overtake to try and get in front. But now we're going to enter the final lap here. Whoever, well, of course, whoever crosses the line first will win. But whoever overtakes each other might win. But yes, and he's actually only 8/10 behind. Oh, there's a big crash here at the back. What has happened here? There's like 3 cars. There's a Choik who's spun, and there's also Fox who has spun. Choik has retired from the session. Oh, and Fox has a puncture. Fox has a big boy puncture, and Fox has also retired from the session. But Yasin is closing in to try and get some points as well. Try and get, but Calix is using his ERS as well. Another pretty, both even on ERS almost. But Calix is crucially still within the lead here, and I think if Ruthful doesn't manage to overtake him into this second DRS straight, Calix will be winning this race because really after that there's no real overtaking opportunity as Calix is going to use all of his ERS that he has been saving up, and really Ruthful can only watch in despair as Calix will run away with this victory, I'd say. But someone who is... Oh, Hazy has actually lost the position to Yasin. Yasin's now up into the podium. So Hazy now really with a shocking end to this race, unfortunately. But now the top two the two leaders are on pretty similar ERS levels, except one has an extra 10%, which is quite big because under 20% you're really not going to be getting too much time. But Ruthful now is really pushing. You can tell he wants to get this race when he's taking a gamble boxing for the mediums. And I don't think it has worked off too much because he's back to where he was before the safety car. But now coming through the penultimate corners now, we've had a really, really intense race. Now, will we see anything more intense? I don't think so. Calix seems to be in a good position to win this race. And unless if he completely spins out last corner, gets a really poor run, he's going to be winning this race. As Calix now has led from start to finish, who has put himself on pole by 0.4 of a second, will come across the line to take victory in Bahrain. Ruthful with a really good P2, Yasin to round off the podium, and Hazy in P4, GC Fungus in P5. Solid points finish. The Inaudible Gamer in P6. HugeBot managed to defend from Maple, and Maple, what a drive from Maple from P19 on the grid to P8. Definitely my driver of the day, as Pixel rounds off P9, but I think Savvy might be able to get him because he has a lot of penalties, Pixel, or at least he has 6 seconds. If he has 9, I don't know. Crosses the line and just manages to jump up by 0.3. So Pixel with the 1 point in the end, as Pandakoi rounds up the best of the rest. Pandakoi in P11, Dewmaster in P12. Oh, Dewmaster actually best of the rest in P11. Pandakoi in P12, Encore P13, Reben in P14, and Rowe in P15. So that's been a really, really good race. Really, I enjoyed that quite a lot. Oh, I think he has a right rear puncture. Actually, no, he doesn't have any puncture. He was just going slow. And that's been a really, really interesting race. I really enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. Thank you for tuning in today. And next week, no Vietnam, unfortunately, because with the actually no, we might have a Vietnam because with the safety car glitch fixed, it could be a big possibility Vietnam will be a thing next week. So Choik from P1 finishes P1. Good stuff from him. I said Choik, sorry. I forgot his name. My apologies. I just had a big brain fart. But Ruthful in P2, yes in P3, and I believe I forgot who's in P1. I feel really bad now. I believe it started with a C as well. Calix, that's it. So Calix from P1 finishes P1, and then Ruthful P2, and Yasin P3. So that's been your race today. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for Vietnam, or if not, China.